We just wanted to talk briefly about Supernote in a meeting, and you want to talk about how e-ink can reduce the impersonal nature of meetings that have been pervasive since laptops became the norm.
Yeah, in my role, several roles back, I traveled to a lot of different campuses, and I would talk to administrators, faculty, deans, presidents, and one thing that I found, I wasn't using my laptop, and this is well before the Supernote. So I would go and I would take in my pad of paper or I had a real nice folio, and I would sit down and I would have a conversation, and I would handwrite notes throughout those conversations, because every time I pulled out the laptop, I just felt this barrier between me and the other person. Plus, then you get the click of the typing, and you have to look down occasionally. And it wasn't as personal. And I'd always wanted something that would allow me not to have to come back to the office and transcribe a bunch of notes into OneNote or into whatever I was using, so that then I could refer to them when I went to the next time I met with somebody. So to me, this is kind of a really interesting and good middle ground, because it's not in between the two people having that conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you found that, but it really resonates with me for that reason.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something I've noticed since the remarkable type folio, and I've shown it to several people, and they've been like, well, I liked it that, you didn't have that. You didn't have that option to be in laptop mode, and I don't want to be the guy to sit and type, and oh, hang on a minute, whilst you're in that meeting. Absolutely, I agree with that. And I also think the iPad doesn't really do it in a meeting either. And I find myself I found it hard to I'm going between these apps to do these things. And there's often times when I'm just like, how do I share this file out? And it's not doing well. It probably would be great if I was just using all Apple products, it would be AirDrop this. But then I have to use Google Drive or, the school's Microsoft system. It never feels very easy to do on that iPad as well. And it also, it's still a big, bright screen, even if it's in sort of flat mode, the iPad, rather than being up on its smart keyboard or whatever they call the thing. It's still a big, bright computer in the middle of the room. And this isn't that. This is just after they've got over the initial fascination that you've got this e-ink tablet, it's just a notebook. And it's just like that folio that you used to have, absolutely. And absolutely the same experience. So when you sort of thought you might want to touch this, totally, this is something that I felt as well. And there's so many people who got into it for that reason, that's what they wanted to use in the meeting. They didn't feel distracted from the colleague. They could focus on the colleague, not a barrier in between them. The colleague's not wondering what you're kind of typing, even though they can't really read you upside down. They say something and then you go, oh yeah, totally different thing than, interesting, it's a different sort of vibe, isn't it? And I think that's the very thing. I also think that because iPads are what kids want, it's not the iPad's fault, to be quite honest, but iPads are what kids want for playing games really and doing anime sketches, and nothing wrong with that. Great device for those things. Great device for most things, really, the iPad. But it doesn't have that kind of professional feel, really. And I think you walk in with a leather folio, or faux leather folio as they are, or even the cloth one and everything like that. You pull out the heart of metal too, and they click. Yeah, here's a pro. And I think there's a lot to be said for that.